All right. It's now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 226. So, for the daily update, there is, once again, no updates, which is great, because I, once again, worked on more video recording and more video editing. And once again, we will continue with work on the terminal block mining simulation game. And let's watch this to see where we were. So I think yesterday, so I've moved the initialization, the player initialization, to the server, and there's a few nuances of that I need to fix to make it seamlessly work when you start from scratch. So I think this will crash. And yeah, it's just a few. I guess tonight I think I'll be able to remove some of the hard-coded block addresses. Yes. Oh, hope my chat window's not too big. I should maybe fix that. I have so much chat, so I won't be able to see it. So ideally, this should be generic. World takeover when? Once I raise enough funding. It's all about the financing issue. I need to just find a wealthy investor to invest in the project. Huge congratulations, future God Emperor. Oh, well, thank you for the positive words. I'm getting close. I think I've made raised around $3,000 so far. The goal is going to be 12 billion. So I'm pretty close. Gotta go, take a nap. But you got this. Oh, thank you. 12 billion is peanuts. That's true, when you put it that way. Gotta aim higher? I don't know. I don't wanna fly too close to the sun. What makes a function generic in Java? I'm not sure how to answer the question. I don't know if does generic have a specific technical meaning in this case? What does it say? Do? I do? I don't know. I don't recognize that anchor brackets do. Hey, my dude. Need to learn programming. Good luck. Thank you. Probably mean oh yeah, for the generic. Oh yeah. Okay, so generics. Yeah, my brain wasn't connecting. Yeah, what makes a function generic in Java? Two developers talking to each other about a given concept always requires 10 to 15 minute session of aligning on WTF common words actually mean. Yeah, when you said generic, I was like, wait, like an abstract function, or I've done some, like, I guess generics. I guess I always hear it referred to as generics as rather than like a function. I guess that makes sense in context. To be honest, I actually don't understand how generics are implemented very well in Java. I've come to almost think of it as like a string replacement. Like, it almost kind of reminds me of how macros or can see, but there may be more, because I think the compiler and runtime doesn't really have a lot of information about it. There's like, it gives you some compile time checks and stuff, but everything is a subclass of object. Yeah, I seem to remember that. Not terribly familiar with Java. You know, Java, I've been learning Java for years now. I would say it was a lot easier to learn like ISO C89, because for most of those programs there was a pretty direct mapping between like the C code and like what the assembly should do. But in Java it's a bit more there's more higher level stuff going on, and I find I guess with Java there's like new features they're adding to Java, and the new features are kind of necessary and relevant, but a lot of the like this new stuff they're adding to C++, like I don't even care what it is. All the new all the new crazy syntax sugar. Generics are a dangerous game. Without interfaces, they can get wonky. I just toString and comparable everything. Custom if it may end up in any order. Doesn't help that Java has the JVM layer. Yeah, I haven't used generics that much in Java, but they are pretty useful for some things. In this game, I have the concept of I have all the different tasks in different threads, and every thread has like a list of work items it has to process, and I made a generic with the work items are typed, so that way you can send messages, basically messages or work items, to other threads, and they're typed so they don't you don't send the wrong work item to the wrong thread. Okay, theoretically this should do what I want. All primitives, let's have an object wrapper class for each one int to integers. Most of the time generics are overused by folks coming from Python, JS. Java wants your code tight and typed. Yeah, I usually try to keep it more specifically typed. Although in, oh, that's a bug. In, I think some of the later version, the newer versions of Java, they seem to encourage you. I think I'm going to try the latest Java 24 or something, or maybe it's 21, and it was complaining, like it was declaring an array list, and it was like when I usually explicitly put the type of the thing in the array list, and it was complaining like, hey, you don't need to do that. You can just write the brackets, which I was kind of surprised that they wanted to go that way. And we get oversimplification of main. So Java write a passage. Need to lock in, join the stream to work alongside you. Pushing on an app to test flight. Instead, I'm now captured by Java Talk. All right, I'll let you get to it. Okay, my detection code is not working. This should be identical, but it's not. Proper to using Vim and typing the entire if block before filling it in. Do you mean these statements? These ones here? Alright, that's not what I expected. It should just work. Oh, actually, this might be because of the loading order. Just saw you create a new if block with just the syntax. I guess I don't know. You mean like I do it like this, like that? I don't know. I do this so much over and over again. I don't even think about it. Yep, this way I know it's all matched. I know it's good practice. A shocking number of people don't do it. Well, I don't know. It's probably even debatable whether it's good practice. The right thing to do is the most efficient and optimal, but I'm still stuck in the past. I still have yet to actually sit down with these large language model coding things. Motions change the way I interact with the computers. I had the good fortune of being introduced to Linux Unix early in my life. Yeah, I forced myself to learn it at the start of university, and it was a good investment. Keep going, so you're still at it. Yep, just a few more days, and I think we'll be at the fundraising goal of $12 billion. I'm just stuck erasing my dot files needlessly. I don't really ever edit those files very much. My gabs hurt now? Gabs? What are gabs? Hands. That makes more sense. Fingers from spamming the like button. Oh yeah, I noticed that. Hopefully YouTube likes that. Although it's probably YouTube probably counts the first one, and then they just ignore the rest of them. build a bot. It's a good idea, much more efficient. Louis Rossman was streaming yesterday, and he played a song. YouTube struck down his video within a minute. Yeah, you're not allowed to play songs unless you get a license from the copyright holder. Not just writing though, developing my own distro, so it could be counted as work. Nice, your own distro, that's a lot of work. Just have to make it sufficiently complex to charge for support. I don't know. I think it's a difficult business model. I have a video on my channel about if you search my channel for my failed Linux distribution, I talk a bit about my attempts to do that, and I realized how much work it is. Okay, I think that's I think that's fully generic now. Okay, maybe the event-based nature of it now will actually work. before I had a bunch of dependency problems. Now everything should block on the loading of this directory block. And then once the directory block loads, that basically means I can load everything else. Oh, maybe that's why that wasn't working. I had it backwards. Oh wow, there's 16 concurrent viewers now. When I started out, there was like 0 for a bit. That's incredible. There's 16 people who want to watch me write code. What is your base distro kernel? Have you heard of Yocto? For distro and kernel, I basically just use default. I have on occasion like compiled the kernel. I've like done some basic stuff to like enable, disable a module, but I honestly don't do that too often. I did journey into like Arch Linux and stuff back in the day, and I went through Linux from scratch and stuff. And after doing like going really deep into that, I was like, okay, I had my fill of this, and now I just use like the default Ubuntu for everything. And for as of Yocto, never heard of that. Really, I should look for an administrator gig to pay bills. Doing things the hard way since 2005, including running Gentoo. Harden is my daily driver. Yeah, if you're that hardcore, you'd make a good administrator. If you see Nick's, you have to daily drive AL2 for a month. I don't really even keep up with these things as much anymore. I guess I never really was. I kind of like to try and find like one thing that works and then just stick to that. Otherwise, there's like the amount of experimentation you can do is endless. Also curious what your Linux setup is. It's super unimpressive. Robert, this was for unfiltered? Oh, okay. Hi, Robert. Hope your last week has been productive. It has. And, even though I'm only grinding away an hour recently with this, I think I'm getting close. Oh, actually, that's interesting. Oh, actually, you know what that is? 579. It's either Ubuntu or AL2, Amazon Linux. It's a distro that underpins most runtimes on AWS. I have my head in the cloud. Yeah, I guess if I did if I did a bunch of cloud stuff regularly, still I haven't messed around with anything cloud in the last few years. I'd probably just go with whatever Amazon's Linux is. So whatever it is, it probably works on their system. They would know it best. Cab Duo Bashir 8541 says, what are you doing? I'm currently working on building a terminal-based video game. What's the plan, boss? Oh, the plan for world domination? I have a video. If you look, there's a link in the description to a detailed plan for world domination. Yeah, I got rid of some hard-coded stuff, but it's still not loading. Secret DX Tiny 6353 says sup. Main laptop is a ZFS Fedora setup that I've been experimenting with. Borg Maniac or Borgmatic. Oh, I think I've heard about that before. A friend of mine mentioned it. I forget exactly what it was, but it's some hybrid of ZFS and something else. I like ZFS. I've been using it for a few years now for backups, and it works pretty well. Still haven't lost any data to it. Okay, it seems like this is working, but Now, for some reason, I think it is not picking up the inventory and player position blocks, which it should be. Okay, there was no exception. That means that those blocks are never being loaded. Interesting. Oh, actually, that makes sense. Because I think when I load actually, this should have an event in it. Prey Hunter Gaming 2866 says, "Sup? How's it going?" This might not fix it, but it's slightly more correct. I think the issue I have with that is if I specify two okay, that's better. I think I do still maybe have an issue with if I specify two very tiny, like one block areas of memory and then successfully load them. If they're in the same chunk, when it loads it the first time, it's not going to trigger the load for the second one. So port is killing you. It's not good. slightly more distracted by our beloved host. That's positive, I guess. At least you're not being killed by boredom. So it looks like that still has a problem. Actually, let me load that again and see if it works. Because there's a slightly different behavior. For a fresh initialization versus a oh, still broken. Nope. So that exception tripped before, which implies it is actually loading those blocks, but for some reason the game wasn't loading. Okay, so it's there. Maybe it's only loading one of them. Okay, so it gets the inventory. But does it get the player position? When I think of coding some games, it seems easy. When I actually start coding, I realize it's extremely hard. Use Arch, by the way, and that's good. That'll help you out with game programming. Okay, I did not see any exception related to the player position, which means it is not loading the player position, which is interesting. So that might be due to the problem I mentioned. Arch is particularly user-friendly when your use case is customization. I should try Arch again. I haven't tried Arch in like over 10 years. So I think the fundamental issue is in this piece of code. When I get back the directory, what I do is I say we now need to load the pieces of memory that are referenced in that directory. But because then it gets divided into chunks, in the in-memory chunks loading, it's probably already loaded, so there's no event that's getting sent to the what is it, check for write blocks in region. Yeah, this is never getting called because it doesn't need to be called. So that's an interesting case to think about. For casual or business users, freedom is a burden. An opinionated, integrated solution is better. Yeah, I've never really used much Arch, but Arch seems to make sense if you need, if you're doing like bleeding edge development, if you're like a package maintainer or something, and you really need to like control over your dependencies and stuff. I think I used it once. I like seriously tried it once, and then like I think I was at a presentation, and I was trying to connect to the second monitor, and I was using Arch, and it wouldn't detect the second monitor, and that was the moment where I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do this anymore. Go back to Ubuntu. Incredibly Arch moment. Yeah, I don't need to. I don't have time to screw around with. And I think I was screwing around with like xbrand to like set the resolution and stuff. And there was another guy there who's extremely tech savvy too. So he's like, oh, go into the TTY and do this and stuff. And but it's not good if your audience doesn't tolerate that. Keep pushing? I will. Thank you. Where does that get called? Oh, in here. Do you have any heroes or people you looked up to growing up. I don't know. I found I've just kind of gone through phases where every time I learn about an interesting person, I try to just learn about go deep into their biography and learn a bit about them, what makes them tick. I'd say I haven't really had like consistent, like I've never been the person to have like Elon Musk or something on a picture of him and look up to him every day. I watched, I thought he was pretty interesting way before, like way back in his early, early days of doing SpaceX. I thought that was pretty cool. Watched a bunch of documentaries on him. But now he's mainstream and people hate him. And I don't know, there's tons of just interesting characters. Marky is actually really good in that regard. I have some quibbles with the particulars of what's configured by default. Oh, Marky, is it? I forget. People have mentioned that a few times. That's like the terminal application for something? Now, where does this get called? After write cuboids work item. That might be it. I have too many of these messages. Maybe that's just for the server one. I even looking at the right method? I guess I'll look at this later. I've had a picture of Wright brothers. First flight picture for decades. For me, it represents overcoming challenges. Have you read much about Richard Feynman? Yeah, I have. He had a series of lectures that was pretty, what was it, Feynman lectures on physics? Although there was another popular YouTuber, her name escapes me, she had a like 3-hour long like debunking Richard Feynman video about basically saying he's a pretty cool guy, but it seems like I guess after he died, it seems like some people like just try to like monetize his reputation and made him out to be I guess they did like a lot to market his brand. Saw 3 ads going in here. Wow, I guess that means YouTube must have predicted that you really wanted to watch this stream. Yeah, I actually did 100 live streams in this series where I was not monetized, and I think it actually really hurt the overall metrics for the channel. So I turned it back on, and the metrics for the channel went back up pretty quickly. Like as soon as I did, it was like $800 in revenue last month, which is a record low. And this month it was like $2,600. Immediately after turning on the monetization on the live streams. But even though the actual money, the monetization from live streams, the ad revenue is basically zero. Like I checked the other day, it was like 6 cents for the 1-hour live stream, which is not surprising. They don't really get that many views. But I kind of wonder though if that made it that kind of artificially hurt the growth. Like if I actually would have gone up in viewers if it had been monetized. Omarkey is the Arch-based distro from Ruby on Rails. Oh yes. You know, I think it seems to me I've had this conversation at least 3 times. There's so many new technologies to try. Million of users had this spam ads would drop a lot. Another ad. Oh wow! So you probably didn't even hear my spiel about when I turned on monetization. And the worst part is actually I'm gonna end the stream pretty soon. Actually, I'll probably I've been trying to stream less. Keep it to 1 hour, and I'm already 16 minutes over my hour. Well, I think the conclusion here is there is a bug that's happening when I tell it to load a chunk that's already loaded. It doesn't give me basically the signal to let me know. And so that's why some of the player blocks are not, it's not actually triggering the event to load it. All right, that'll be it for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow night for day 227. All right, have a good night, guys.